My road to Damascus story is that today in 1976, when I was in a practice room at Trenton State College, working on a piano piece that I was writing, and the door flew open, and this bald head stuck in, and said, "What is that piece? I never heard that before." Oh, well, of course not. It was this dinky little thing that I was coming up with. And that started almost 30 years of a wonderfully close friendship with Larry. At that time, I was just an undergraduate, and I knew about Larry, but I didn't take courses with him because he was a graduate professor. But he saw my interest in learning about contemporary music, especially on Bear. We talked about the violin concerto many times. He invited me into his graduate classes, and as a result, I spent probably about 3 years longer than I should have at Trenton State, just taking courses so I could be next learn about learning from him. And I went on to get a PhD from the University of North Texas, thinking that maybe someday I would know maybe as much as Larry, but of course that never happened. If you're a musician or a musicologist, he would just amaze you with the amount of stuff that he knows. But the really outstanding thing about that is I've met a lot of musicians with that sort of knowledge and facility, but never with a combination of Larry's humanity. There was never any arrogance in Larry's sharing of his knowledge. He was very enthusiastic about music in general. He wanted to share that with you. So if there was a piece that you didn't know, other professors might say, "Oh, you don't know that? That's a standard thing. What kind of moron are you?" And Larry would never do anything like that. He said, "Oh," and it would be an opportunity for him to go into lecture mode and go on about all these really interesting stories about the composers in general. There were many people that he knew. Bob mentioned Ursula Williams. One of the photos that I put in the back was a picture of Ursula. But Larry would go to Europe every year on his vacation and reacquaint himself with these people. Pierre Boulez, when he was playing in the Philharmonia Orchestra back in the 60s, he played under Boulez. And they have maintained an association for the past, 40 years. It is really hard and really easy to talk about Larry. It's really easy because there's so much to say about him. There's just so much, but it's really hard because what do you do to leave out? The thing is, with Larry gone now, he's I don't want to speak for you, but I think a lot of you are feeling probably a hole there. There were many things that were focused in my life around Larry. When I would hear a new piece, or I would read something in the paper, or I would hear something on the radio, I would send an email or call on the phone and tell them about it. And now when I hear these things, it's like, oh, goodness, that's right, he's not there. When the phone rings at 6 a.m., it just happened the other day. It's like, oh, well, that's Larry calling. Well, unfortunately, it wasn't. It was a friend of my wife's who needed a ride to work. But I was still disappointed, that it wasn't Larry calling. So I think as we go on, we are going to just remember both what a great man Larry was, but also he was a great guy. On the website that I made for Larry, I invited anyone to come up and give a few words. The only person who responded was Dee Johnson, so she'll say a few words now. And if there is anything you'd like to say after Dee, if you promise to keep it not to an Academy Award, thanks, you're welcome to come up. And Dee will be followed by the Brahms Violin Concerto. Darwin Apple from the St. Louis Symphony, and a friend of over 40 years of